Dave Popkin, WBGO Studios. For more than 20 years, my guest has fronted the Midwestern favorites, the Kilbourne Alley Blues Band, releasing 6 albums. He also fronts a band called The Dig 3, which released a well-reviewed album last year. This year, he hit a new high point, in my opinion, releasing a solo album called California Trap, which is one of the best blues records of the year. Recently, it was in the top 10 of the Living Blues radio chart, and he has been nominated for several Blues Blast magazine awards as a result. It's my pleasure to welcome Andrew Duncanson to WBGO. How's it going?
It's great to be here, Dave. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, I love the new album. It's bigger sounding than some of the stuff you've done in the past with like Memphis style horns and female singers and organ and kind of a Stax feel. How did that all come about?
Well, um, I ran into this guy named Michael Peliquin on the Blues Cruise in 2019, and he's actually from my hometown of Champaign, Illinois, but he's been living in the Bay Area for 40 years, and we kind of reconnected there, and he was like, "Hey, man, you ought to come out and then make a record with me out in California at Greaseland at Kid Anderson's studio in San Jose." And it was kind of joking a little bit, but I didn't take it as a joke. I thought this is perfect for some material I've written. Like it's different than Kilborn Alley, it's different than the Dig 3. Let's get some more production on some of this stuff. So I started hounding this dude, texting him and calling him saying, "Hey, let's make this happen." And then COVID came around, so we had to wait a couple of years, but in 2022 we got it done. So that's kind of the genesis of the whole project.
Well, your sound, your voice, your writing deserves that big production. And Kid Anderson is one of the best out there, one of the hottest producers in the blues and in music in general. What is it about what he brings to the project and just like Greaseland in general that just kind of oozes musical success?
Well, I had just kind of met Kid a couple times on the road here and there, just, "Hey, how you doing?" So I didn't realize just how friendly he is and how much he makes you feel at home. And that's the thing for me that makes Greaseland special. Is it first of well, he's kind of a musical genius. um, and he can recall any record over the past 100 years probably, and kind of give you some advice on what you should do with your music. But the thing that really struck me is that how friendly and welcoming he is to his guests at Greaseland, and not really because he has to, just because that's who he is. He eases everybody with his sense of humor, and just makes it a fun environment. So I walk in there and I'm kind of nervous. And these were people, everybody besides Michael, I didn't really know. Uh, Demar on the drums, and Baxter. This is the first time I went out, and so I didn't know these guys. But I started. He basically said, "Let's hear. Let's hear a song. We got to get started." So, I took an acoustic guitar and played the bare bones of a song, and probably about 30 minutes later, we had "Nah Nah Nah" done, and it was totally different than I'd ever played it, but it was right in the wheelhouse of what I kind of thought. And so yeah, that Kid's got magic. Yep.
Another guy that was a legend that played on that record besides Kid and Derek were Jim Pugh, who played with Robert Cray for so long and so many other big records. And I love the singers on there. I mean, the whole thing was just magical, I felt like.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And yeah, Jim was wonderful to work with, and Jerry Jamop, he was on the bass. um to be around somebody with those kind of experiences, just for me, was really cool.
What's the reaction been like from the media, the fans?
Everybody likes the record. I haven't got any, really negative opinion. Everybody knows there's some production to this. This isn't the Dig 3, where we recorded everything live, and you have a foot a foot drum and a couple amplifiers. So it's you know it's it's a little over the top, but it seems to not be though. It seems to hit every right note. The, yeah, people have liked what I've done, love this project, and they're excited for it. And yeah, I mean, reviews have been great, so that's cool.
You've taken a band called Take a Ride, including Michael, out on the road a
Right.
little bit, to for this record. That must be expensive. I've talked to artists about that in the past, about bringing, a large band of seven, eight more artists out there with you. It seems like this record kind of demands it, but then there's like the reality of life. Like, where are you with that right now?
Well, we didn't get to do much this year. We've just done a couple handful of shows, mostly around Illinois and the Midwest. So what we're really working on right now is getting going for next year, and that will be a six-piece band, um, two horns, keys, myself, possibly another guitarist. We're figuring this out as we go. This is new to everybody. Michael just moved back to Illinois from the Bay Area, so he's here, and he just bought a van, and so I don't have to do that. He did that, which is cool, and I don't want to drive it that much either. But no, just kidding. Um, but yeah, but it is hard, and especially to get a six-piece band out on the road. But there's we kind of feel like this project is there's some sacrifices we can all make um, to make this really cool. So we might take a few gigs where you know we probably wouldn't have in the past. Everybody has been doing this for, I've been doing it 25 and I'm like the rookie, so I mean, we really believe in this project. So we might take some financial hits to make it work.
Yeah, it could really have some legs if more people heard it for sure. Relearning to Climb starts the record. It's a strong song, but it also seems like a meaningful one as well. How much of that one is autobiographical?
Oh, all of it. Yeah. Yeah. So I wrote that one walking through a wonderful park here in central Illinois. But also, I had some tremendous loss around that time. I lost my couple of my best friends. Michael Ledbetter was one of my best friends, and we played a lot of music together. And I lost a bandmate of mine, Abraham Johnson, and had some band breakup issues. So just a lot of loss. And I thought about, you know, I got to get back. You got to get back up. I thought about taking up, taking up more hiking and getting around more. So I got back in the parking lot that day after the drive or after the walk, and that song just kind of spilled out.
I read somewhere that you make it a discipline, that you do a lot of writing over the course of the year. How do you do that, and how do you decide which song goes to which band? Because you're prolific in terms of, all those different groups that we talked about.
Yeah, I try to write a couple, 2, 3 times a week, and I'm kind of always looking for the ideas. That almost gets annoying. You're always looking for the sparks of what a song could be. But yeah, the discipline part is sitting down with the pen and paper and just kind of trying to get something going. And I use some just kind of word tricks sometimes to get to pen to paper, and I'm always looking at um, different chord progressions I can kind of steal from, you know. So those are kind of main things I work at. But it is interesting. It's great for me to have a few different musical projects because I know that if it's something that's 12 bars um, and kind of just has a Jimmy Reed feel, that's going to the dig three. There's just no question. That's who needs to play that. But if I want to do something with a little more chords and a little more soulful, that now is going to go to Take a Ride band and so on. Kilborn Alley has a song coming out next month called "We're All in This Together," which we've been playing around here for a couple of years, and it's just got this real positive message that people love. And I just got that finished like today. The engineer had finished that one up, and I'm really excited about that. So, and that's got that Kilborn Alley's kind of morphed into this gospel band um, with background singers. This wonderful gospel singer, LaQuisha Burries Finn, as well as our drummer A Train, who's steeped in gospel. So yeah, so it's really cool to have that outlet.
Seems like you have big ears because you have a bunch of different styles we've talked about already. And I saw somewhere that you saw Bruce Springsteen recently, and
That's right.
a big country music fan as well, and like
Yeah,
traditional blues. Um, how much of all of that, makes it into your writing?
yeah. All of that is yeah. Those are yeah, pretty much what I try to stick to. I do write some country stuff, and I have um a kind of half done country album that we did at Greaseland. There's 5 songs. Some stuff kind of sounds like Merle Haggard, and some other stuff kind of got a country rock kind of feel. So that's going to come out soon. But yeah, yeah, a lot of different music influences what I do for sure.
That's
And
good.
and the boss too. Yeah, that was a family trip to Baltimore. My sister recently moved in that area, and we all went out there and had a good time. He played for 3.5 hours. I don't know about all that. Uh, but no, it was fantastic. And he's been an influence. I don't I used to kind of try to write like Springsteen more, but I've kind of shied away from that. But I do love him.
He's the best. I just saw him in Milan last show of that tour,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah,
That was a great tour. Yeah.
it was pretty epic. And a song that he did is a song that you did on this new record, "This Land Is Your Land," which is particularly poignant right now in 2025. You do a very different arrangement of that. I guess it's a two-part question. How did it come together, and why include that?
That was Michael's idea, and I was like, okay. At first, I didn't, but this is a cover of a cover. That's the Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings version. So he kind of liked it. And I've asked him why, and he didn't give me a great explanation. But I then after we recorded it and Kid put a couple extra touches on it, we brought in the really fine background singers on there. I really like it, so I'm glad it ended up on there. And yeah, it is for 2025 is it's pretty important. We've actually done it live a bunch of times, and I'm not too big into doing covers, but I was like, yeah, the heck with it. We need to, you know, play this, and if somebody out there opens up their ears and kind of is influenced by this message, let's go for it.
Definitely. Um, you talked a little bit about Dig 3, and I was so happy to see that it got great critical reception, within the blues world, and that, people dug it, so to speak, no pun intended.
Uh-huh.
Even though it's like stripped down, like old Muddy Waters style, with like some slide and some harp, and like it could have been recorded 70 years ago. Um, are you going to do more of that?
Yeah. So the partner in that is Jerry Hunt, and he's up in Chicago a little bit. We're about 2 hours south here in Champaign. So, but we work together all the time. So we were kicking around ideas the other day about making another record. So and and I've got a good handful of songs for that. So I'm definitely want to do that. Ronnie's back out in Colorado, so we're gonna have to get him in, get a handful of gigs. But I mean, recording the Dig Three, both albums basically took a day. It's kind of hard day, but still only a day. So I definitely want to do another Dig Three record, and also because now after however many years it's been, 3 or 4 years, the people know the name now, and there's some, I just want I want to play music with my friends again, and I want to do that. But I think that'd be a great way to get more ears on these tunes, and is dig three. That's where the gut bucket blues goes.
Yeah, that and the Take a Ride thing could both be big hits at blues festivals, jazz festivals, things like that. Um, Speaking of the blues, like, what's your first memory? Either maybe first couple of records that you heard, or that you bought, or maybe a show that you saw when you were a kid that kind of lit the fuse for you.
The Well, I was thinking about this today. I mean, I had a lot of I grew up in the early 90s, and I had a lot of just the tapes of music of my day, and back then we didn't have a big music collection. You had like six, seven things that I played in my Walkman, and that was it. And you know, uh, thinking about like one of them was the great band Arrested Development,
Mhm.
and then there was some other R&B and hip hop stuff, and but I also had at my disposal was my parents' stuff and my dad's tape collection, and what I gravitated toward in his stuff was the blues music and actually some of the reggae stuff he had. So I gravitated towards his Robert Johnson tape and a tape of Peter Tosh, and I stole those from him, and he never got them back. And my folks are super cool; they've supported this whole journey, and they noticed that I like the roots music, and so as a young person, I would get blues tapes at Christmas and whatnot. So I always just remembered enjoying blues music since I was a kid. But but that said, the education, the real work came when I got to be like 18, 19. I had my own money to spend, and I spent it all on blues records. You know,
Yeah, there's that old quote that gets circulated: "Buy as many blues records as you can."
yeah,
And
that's what we did.
yeah, I mean, and speaking of that, we're recording this on Buddy Guy's 89th birthday, and
Yeah.
he continues to do it. New record out, new collaborations out. Had the residency that I attended this year in Chicago.
Okay.
Really, just still vibrant at that age. How much has he and some of those older Chicago blues musicians meant to you?
Well, Buddy Guy he was my main guy growing up. That's what I wanted to be. Um, and you asked about like yeah, that I was underage and I tried to get into Legends, and the one of the main bouncers is still there from that long ago. And but anyway, we always laugh like, hey, I remember when you tried to get in. But yeah, I think I did. They did, and eventually let me in underage. And I saw Buddy there a couple times at the club, and we followed him around to some blues festivals in the Midwest. Um, but his stuff with Junior Wells is my favorite, some of my favorite music, period. And all those, and as a guitarist, that spoke to me the most when I was younger. So Buddy means a lot. Yep, and happy birthday, Buddy Guy.
You talked a little bit about Kilborn Alley and the new song coming out. I saw there were a couple dates coming up with them as well. Are you going to be able to fit in more stuff with that outfit this year?
Not as much, no. Um, but there will be some Kilborn gigs. Um, we've we've built up around here in Central Illinois a real nice fan base, and they show up, and like I said, kind of morphed into this R&B gospel positive kind of band that when we do the street festivals here, in the downtown area, we get people singing and we have a good time. But so it still works really good, but not as much Kilborn this year. And next year we're going to be looking to do more, take a ride and hit the festivals more with that. We're working on that right now.
Your voice is unique and fabulous. I mean, you can hear echoes of, you know, Joe Cocker and Darius Rucker and Chris Stapleton and some of the great singers that are out there in popular music. But who are some of the people that you listen to that you're like, yeah, I'd like to try to go in that direction?
Like new people or
Either, you know.
no, I don't know. I think honestly it kind of took a while to find my own voice. I did a lot of, trying to be like this guy or that guy for a long time. And I think I like where I am now. If that makes sense. How I got here though is definitely with a bunch of Bobby Blue Bland and Bobby Womack and Junior Wells and Muddy Waters and a little bit of Van Morrison and I don't know, many more. Luther Allison is where I got a lot of my throat stuff from, how I sing from my throat, as well as like David Ruffin, Abraham Johnson, who I worked with for 15 years, rubbed off on me. Um, you know, Tyrone Davis and Johnny Taylor, just to name a few. That's where I got where I am today, which I often think that it's been about 5 6 years where I feel like now I can just call it my voice instead of trying to do some another one. Buddy Ace, I used to try to sing like him. He has a huge voice. Um, so, anyways, yeah. Now I think I got my own voice.
There's no doubt. And where would you like to see this thing go? Like, do you want to be out there internationally? Do you want to be out there a lot, on the road and going down this vein that you've found with this solo album?
Yeah. I mean, I already play you know 130 shows a year. I have for a couple decades now. So I'm already experiencing playing a lot. Uh, I wouldn't mind playing for maybe a few bigger houses and getting a little more people on the bandwagon. But if that comes, that's fine. If not, I'm just gonna keep still doing this to whatever extent, So yeah, we're gonna, like I said, we have a van, we have a band that's some people that are eager and ready to go. Michael's really like fired up. So no, I like how much I work now, and I do get to travel. I was in Europe a couple times this year, and already got something in California and Europe booked for next year. So looking forward to all that, and I like playing for my people here in Illinois and the Midwest. I'm always up in Wisconsin and Missouri. But yeah, I'd like to, have see some of the great venues on the East Coast again sometime soon. Yeah.
Well, we look forward to seeing you out here. It would be good to have your band come this way, and I certainly wish you luck out there on the road and appreciate all the time today. I encourage folks to check out California Trap, the new record from Andrew Duncanson, and all of his older material as well, and the stuff that sounds like it's coming down the line here in the next few months. Andrew, thanks so much.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, great stuff. Andrew Duncanson joining us here on WBGO.